advisor is Dr. Li Shi. And my topic is talk about motivation and gender in the Taiwanese FO classroom. And this is my content. Include introduction, literature review methodology. In introduction, have background statement of the problem, purpose, research gap, research questions, and significance. And background. In Lambert's social psychology model, that he emphasized cognitive factors such as language aptitudes and intelligence, also affective factors such as attitude and motivation. In the researchers' study, they showed the result that there is a direct relationship between language learners' amount and quality of communication, their self-confidence, motivation, and achievement. The researchers mentioned that students' motivation and achievement influenced by self-efficacy beliefs. And in Mordell and Stoltzfus, their study shows a positive correlation between motivation and achievement. A statement of the problem. In previous studies showed the relationship among motivation, attitude, and achievement, and also show the importance of these factors toward language learning. However, we don't understand fully how we can motivate language learners' learning, motivation, and attitude. And the purpose of the study investigates language learners' motivation and attitude, whether or not influence their achievement, and figure out the relationship among learning, motivation, attitude, and achievement. Research gap. There are many studies have different viewpoints about motivation, and some researchers emphasize integrative motivation was important than instrumental. Some were opposite, so the researcher tried to verify it. And I will explain what is integrative motivation and what is instrumental motivation later. There are two research questions. First question is, how will do language learners' motivation, attitude predict their language achievement? And second question, is there any difference between male and female learners in their motivation and attitudes to learn English? And significance. If the researcher could understand and explain learners' motivation and their attitude toward language learning, then not only a contribution to the field, but also could give the right direction to the language learners. Then they could find focus on the main points to improve themselves. This is literature review content. Motivation, attitude, gender, and achievement. And motivation. Second language motivation is referring to the extent to which an individual works or strives to learn the language because of desire to do so and the satisfaction experienced in this activity. There are two different kinds of motivation. First is integrative, and second is instrument. And what is integrative motivation? Gardner gives an integrative definition: a desire to learn the target language and an attitude toward the learning situation and the target language community. For example, people they learn English because they want to develop their communicate skills or English writing skills. And instrument motivation is characterized by a desire to gain social recognition or economic advantages through knowing a second language. For example, people they learn English because they want to get a good job or get more salaries. Gardner and Lambert said that integrative motivation was viewed more important in a learning environment than instrumental motivation. However, some researchers, such as Lukmani, he said an instrumental motivation was more important than an integrated motivation in non-westernized female learners of psychology in Bombay. And attitude. The researchers state that attitude is approved as an important concept to understand human behavior and is defined as a mental state that includes beliefs and feelings. There are two different attitudes. First is positive attitude, second is negative attitude. What is positive attitude? Positive attitude is taking decision of acceptance or reaction that agrees the attitude we made, or is the attitude that reveals the advantages of the subject or to take its value. And negative attitude is the attitude that reveals the disadvantages of the subject to dismiss and to weaken its strong attitudes. And gender. In this research study, he found that 4th grade girls were more motivated to learn foreign language than 4th grade boys. And this result showed a significant effect for gender and grade on one factor. And achievement. Achievement goal theory posits that the purposes that students hold for interested in a specific academic task are an important precedent to their achievement-related process and outcomes. And this is my methodology content. It includes participant instrument, procedures, statistic analysis, and questionnaire. And my participants are all English major students and from freshman to sophomore, approximately 200 students, and in Chaoyang University of Technology in Taichung City. And there are two instruments. First is MSLQ. MSLQ means Motivated Strategies for Learning Questionnaire. And the other instrument is AMTB. AMTB means Attitude Motivation Test Battery. MSLQ adapted from these three researchers, and this instrument have 81 items, 7 Likert scale, and Chroma alpha is 0.958. And in this MSLQ, I just used 31 questions. And this is the example. As you can see, the 1 means not at all true of me, and 7 means very true of me. And you can see the first question, such as, in a class like this, I prefer course material that really challenges me, so I can learn new things. And AMTB instrument adapted from Gardner. And in this instrument have 116 items, 6 Likert scale. Chroma alpha is 0.87. And in this part, I just used 12 questions. You can see the first question such, my motivation to learn English in order to communicate with English-speaking people is 1 means weak and 7 means strong. And my procedures. In February, I will have 30 participants to do my pilot study. And in March, I will do data collection. In April, I will do data analysis. And in May, I will conducting the study. And June, I will do the proposal defense. And statistic analysis. Question 1. How will do language learners' motivation, attitude, predict their language achievement. This question I will use Pearson correlation. And second question, is there any difference between male and female learners in their motivation and the aptitude to learn English? This question I will use t-test. And let's see my questionnaire. The first part is about background information such as their age and their gender, and they are freshmen or sophomore. And the second part is motivation part. And this part is adapted from MSLQ questionnaire. And this part has 31 questions. And the last part is aptitude. It's AMTP, adapted from AMTP questionnaire. And this part is to test students' attitude. As you can see, this part is a little special because these questions have different options, such as the first question is weak to strong, second question is unfavorable to favorable, second question is very low to very high. And this part have 12 questions. And this is my questionnaire, and I will do the pilot study at first. And thank you for listening.